Welcome to the YouTube table of contents. I am your host, like Jason Joseph, aka Ridiculous. Well, this is the channel that talks about other channels, where we talk about the what, the why, the best thing about these channels, and why you should be watching them. We talk sports, comedy, podcasts, you name it, we cover it, comics, etc., pop culture. The best channels that you want are the ones that we gonna talk about. So if this is your first time, please like, share, and subscribe. Today's contents, podcast. Joe Rogan. What's his podcast? He's the legend. His show is truly the blueprint of probably all your favorite podcasts, hands down. He's been doing this since the beginning. If you don't know who Joe Rogan is, either you're under the rock or you're old as fuck. From the UFC commentating position, I mean, he really knows how to start a great conversation. His whole style is more or less the format of many of your favorite podcasts. Nobody does it better than him. He knows how to get into somebody's mind and open them up on a conversation. Hey, he's been doing this forever. He's really mastered his craft. What's the best thing about Joe Rogan's show? I mean, oh my God, the Doseke sickness. So we're having to give me 6 feet. We got plenty of time to be in the house. He's got maybe over 10 years of worth binge watching of great interviews. Don Cormier, John Bones Jones, Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of my favorites. Ashley Larry, Donnell Rollins, the list goes on and on and on. Like I say, he's got a good decade's worth of interviews for you to go back and check out. The way he goes about doing an interview, and he gives you enough time. You liable to get some interviews are an hour, some interviews are 2. He's giving you 3 or 4. Yo, Joe, love you. Hey, I look up to you, and you've taught me a lot in this podcast game. So, hey, I look forward to meeting you one day, and I admire you to the point, one day I'll start a podcast. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens. This next podcast, Fatman Beyond. Exactly what I said, Fatman Beyond. What is it? It goes Fatman Beyond. This is by writer, director, comedian, none other than God Body, pop culture legend, Kevin Smith himself, and another writer, Marc Bernardin. I pray I don't butcher your name. Marc has wrote recently on The Continental. It's in the John Wick universe. I want to say it might be on FX, I'm not sure. But next year, he should be writing on season 2 of Picard, so he's somebody too. They discuss modern day current events in pop culture, comic books, movies, anything in media, they're probably on it. Why should you watch this? Like I said, this is Kevin and Marc. Kevin himself wrote Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob, both of them. Mallrats, my favorite movie. He is Silent Bob, for God's sakes. And like I say, Mallrats is just a personal favorite that hit home. My high school had them all right across the street. It was there every lunch. They couldn't stop us. Best thing about this show, well, not only are they discussing all these fabulous things in pop culture and media, but they're also asking the crowd a lot of questions. And along with asking the questions, they've got all kind of different artwork and pieces of media that you might like from all of this pop culture. You know, Star Wars memorabilia, Marvel, DC, all kinds of stuff. And they're signing it as they're allowing people to ask them questions about all of these things, and then they end up giving it to them. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool show. They're in a bar. It slips my mind exactly what bar, but I'll probably have it down in the description, the bar that they're at. And you can always, like I say, I want you to go to these people's channels. I don't want you to really take my word for it. I want you to see for yourself. But Fatman Beyond, you can't go wrong with it. And he's got a black sidekick. Just messing with you, Marc. Normally, I don't plan on showing my medicinal exploits on camera, but this next podcast, right up my alley. What can I say about this one? Oh my God. Mike Tyson. Literally, hot boxing with Mike Tyson. One of the greatest boxers of all time. What can we say? If you are of age, we'll just leave it at that, then you've watched Mike and all of his exploits and everything that he's went through in his career. And what can we say? We watched Mike change his life completely. This guy's doing movies now. My kids love his cartoon. It's on Adult Swim. You gotta check it out. It's got talking pigeon, all kind of crazy stuff. But regardless, Mike has really expanded himself in his repertoire and all of his accolades. I mean, literally, now he's invested in the marijuana industry. He actually has a marijuana ranch where he does this show. And he has just as many guests as anybody else would. You know, it's a podcast. What can I say? And I want to say maybe it might not be a year or two old. So it's a brand new one. And I mean, oh my God, this is Mike Tyson. Mint Green, Mike Tyson. You remember Bite Mike. You know how Mike, boy, I'm telling you. The beauty of this is, what can I say? Why should you watch Mike? Because he's going to tell you about all of that crazy stuff he used to do. He was young-minded, and he gets to talk about his evolution and maturity. So I love hearing his stories on all the trials and tribulations that he has overcome, and he gets to tell us about it. What's the best thing about this? This is Mike Tyson. You're hot boxing with Mike Tyson. They're smoking the whole time. Everybody's relaxed. From time to time, he may have another cannabis connoisseur on there, and they get to talk about the accolades of being in the cannabis industry. Like I say, I've always been a fan of Mike Tyson. I love the movies that he does, and it's just great to see one of my black icons from the 80s. Because, I mean, in the 80s, oh my God, I have various black superheroes, and Mike Tyson most definitely was one of them. So, I love your show. Man, y'all, go check out Mike. I'm hot boxing with Mike Tyson. You're gonna love it. You're smoking with the champ. I'm the champ. I'm the champ. I'm the champ. I'm fast and I'm pretty. No one can beat me. No one can beat me. No, you're smoking with this guy. Dude, I would be honored just to be sitting next to this man. So, hey. I'm envious of every single one of y'all that gets to sit next to Mike Tyson. What can I say? Iron Mike. Proud of you. I love your podcast.